Tokyo Xtreme Racer is a game about buying a cheap, not-so-fast car, going out on the highway to race AI drivers, to earn money to then spend on your car to race faster rivals. The Tokyo Xtreme Racer series is my favorite racing series of all time, and I've come back and replayed these games countless times. As I returned back to it yet again after dealing with the boredom of quarantine, I remembered something. I have a YouTube channel. So I decided to turn this playthrough of Tokyo Xtreme Racer into content. By doing what, you may ask? Why, by beating the game with the slowest car I can find, of course. Oh god. So, booting up Tokyo Xtreme Racer, and I cannot for the life of me get the emulator to display the menu properly. I've tried so many settings, and I don't know what's causing it, but it is okay. It's only the menu. The rest of the game is fine. Except for the fact that the audio tends to favor the right speaker significantly more, but I will fix that in post. Also, it seems to just enjoy running in 4x3 much more, so I apologize about that as well, but come on man, emulation is a tricky thing. So anyway, the slowest starting car. What is it? Well, looking through the dealerships, cars are split into three classes: A, B, and C. A-class cars are like GTRs, Supras, RX-7s. B-class cars are the more in-between MR2s, IS200s, S14s, and C-class cars are slow, Miatas, 86s, Hondas. We start with 15 grand and actually have enough to buy one of the best cars in the game. This Evo, which I buy pretty much every time I play this game. But that's not what we're going to do. We are going to go all the way to C-class, and I think the best way to determine the slowest car is simply by horsepower. And here is our car, a Suzuki... No, wait, that's a Honda Beat. Sorry, I can't really tell. With a whopping 64 horsepower and a 650cc engine. 6969, perfect. And bam! Now, I know you can't tell, but we are now the proud owner of a Honda Beat. And we have some leftover cash. Time to get upgrading. Now, we're just a few bucks short of the level 3 engine mod, and I feel like it would be a waste to spend the money on level 2 when that doesn't change the price of level 3, so we need to try and win a couple of races stock. And we are moving at traffic speeds. Fuck's sake. So, how Tokyo Xtreme Racer works is you select different parts of the highway to go searching for rival teams. Each team will usually cruise a specific section of the map, which is actually modeled after the C1 inner loop in Tokyo that loops around the Imperial Palace. It has a name that I'm not going to attempt to pronounce for fear of being attacked by ravenous weebs. After you beat that team's 5 to 6 members, the team leader will appear, who is usually much more aggressive and in a faster car. After beating a number of team leaders, the area leaders will show up, called the 13 Devils. These guys are hyper aggressive and very quick, and they are the main form of progression in the game, as beating one of them will unlocks. Good line. So we start on the C1 inner, which is where you're supposed to start, and come across our first rival, Mr. Thanks from the Little Gang. Yes, every rival has a unique name, and it's pretty charming. The way battles work in Tokyo Xtreme Racer is like this. Each opponent has an SP bar, basically a health bar. Fall too far behind and it'll start draining. First one to empty loses. It'll also drain if you hit or grind on stuff, so it's technically possible to lose a race even if you're out in front if you hit something too hard. Win and you get some cash. Lose and you still get some cash. You don't lose your money like you would if you were betting it. You just gain a very, very small amount of money for losing, which totally makes sense. So if need be, we can totally just progress by grinding lose money in our slow as fuck car. After losing our first race to Mr. Thanks, we come across a much more fitting opponent, Rolling 2. The Rolling guys are the first gang you meet in every Tokyo Xtreme Racer game, and even the Xbox 360 game Import Tuner Challenge. They are a gang of colorful 8.6s and 8.5s with disgusting body kits. Being the first gang, we might be able to take them down. Never mind. Something to note about Tokyo Xtreme Racer 0. The opponent and traffic AI is incredibly stupid and easy to exploit. Whether that's blocking them and shoving them into a traffic car, or them getting confused when a traffic car changes lanes and they crash themselves. There are also a few areas of the map where the AI can be exploited because they have difficulty navigating. Mainly this corner right here. For some reason, the AI will slow to about 30 miles an hour and crawl through this corner. While I don't want to rely on it, That corner may be what wins a lot of early races. First rolling guy down by way of him crashing.
Oh, fuck.
And we get some cash. Not enough for the engine upgrade yet. 2 more wins should do us there. On to the next rolling guy, and our race goes about as well as expected. Being as we can't get above 100 miles an hour unless we're going downhill or being shunted from behind, we cannot beat anyone in a straight line, which this game is a lot of. Second challenge though goes much better. The AI traffic throwing me a bone and making sure rolling 3 is well acquainted with my rear bumper, and we pull out a victory. Get used to me using that bumper cam. I'm pretty sure the only way we're going to keep winning these races is if I'm getting my tailpipe smashed in. That's a euphemism for something. Last rolling guy before our upgrade. Easy win. We challenged him just before that one corner they can't take, and I nearly screw it up. But I get around him. He spends the next few miles beating the ever-living hell out of my rear bumper, and in the final corner he tries his best to dump and run me, as NASCAR fans would know it. But we edge out another victory. Time for our upgrade. Our engine upgrade nets us a nasty 18 horsepower and roughly 70 more cc's. Not much, but in a car that weighs 1,700 pounds, a little power goes a long way. The next upgrade we need is exhaust, which cost $1,500. Only a race or two worth, and with our level 3 engine, should be easy. Pulling out, and there really isn't a difference. To say I'm disappointed is an understatement. The only noticeable difference is the faint sound of a whistling turbo, which is not what the level 3 engine upgrade said it did, and a flame popping from the exhaust whenever we let off the gas. We find our first opponent, Lazy Butt, cool name. He's in an EK9, which compared to our Beat is basically a supercar. We lose to him once, but thankfully we challenged him near that one corner again, and he couldn't figure it out, which gave us the lead. It was a long, intense battle down to the wire, partially because neither of us could stop hitting stuff, but in the end he couldn't handle the VTEC. Just short of our exhaust, on to one more. We lost our next race, but made enough cash for the exhaust. Our exhaust boosts us up to 91 horsepower. We are almost as powerful as an NA Miata. For now, that's all the power upgrades we can get, until we defeat bosses and unlock more. So now, all we can do is focus on putting a new transmission in it to let us tune our gear ratios, and reducing the car's weight. So we're gonna need about $5,500. Oh, and I also put this Fast and the Furious banner on the car, so people know that we are, in fact, Fast and Furious. Why is that in the game, you ask? Because there's a Fast and the Furious movie trailer in the extras menu. No, I'm not kidding. Now it's on to the boring stuff. Tokyo Xtreme Racer is a lot of money grinding in between racing bosses and area leaders, something that they tried to remedy in Tokyo Xtreme Racer 3. Which maybe we'll do another series on if this goes well. We raced a station wagon that started the race by brake checking me, so I finished it by brake checking him. I raced the world's ugliest 8.6.
Look at this dude.
We then bought a new hood to remove 50 pounds from the car. We raced Mr. Thanks Again, who repeatedly crashed into other cars to basically hand us the win. Thanks. And Kiss My Bumper took the wrong exit and made us draw. We raced an MRS from the Knife and Fork Gang, great name, which we had no business beating, but thankfully he punted himself into oblivion. We then find the Wanderer White Panther, and he's cool, great, awesome.
Bye, have a great time.
Back to the garage, I buy some side mirrors that take off 5 pounds. Then, I finally found him, the last member of the Rolling Guys. The last one we have to beat in order to race the team leader and our first boss. Starting the race, he begins to pull away, but for no discernible reason, he keeps tapping on his brakes. It was completely fortuitous that I challenged him near the exploit corner again, and it was helped even more by the fact that there was a semi-truck in front of him. So while this was a completely unfair race, a victory is a victory. Then he showed up. Our first proper boss. The Rolling Guy. Rolling 1. Since he's challenging me, he starts behind, which puts us at a major advantage that we use to the fullest. His Levin is fast. Well, compared to our moped, it's fast. and the fact that I'm a moron and left it in automatic mode isn't helping me at all in this race. I have to make my 55-inch wide Honda Beat take up the entirety of the freeway to prevent him getting by. That's the equivalent of 4.5 Subway $5 footlongs. We have to squeeze through some traffic to get around a stopped car. I make it with ease. Our opponent clips a taxi. I'm sure we have a victory here, but he's back on our ass like a bat out of hell. He jukes me out on a block and gets around me. But believe it or not, we catch up. We go for a gap and shove him out of the way, which in turn makes him punt me into a traffic car. This makes us lose our first challenge against Rolling 1. But we are not backing down that easily. Like an anime protagonist that just won't die, we challenge him over and over and over again, enduring loss after loss. I chased Rolling 1 across the C1 inner for 10 minutes waiting for him to make a mistake. That was the only way we were going to get in front of him. Then, it happened. He got stuck in a tunnel with a semi. And that was it. He fell so far behind he didn't recover. I spotted him coming in my rear view as we approached the exploit corner, but it was already too late. Rolling 1 had fallen.